You want success. You want glory. You want to get over the hump and achieve what you've set out to do. Knowing failure is the only true way to understand success. Lose. Lose proudly. Lose often. Lose well.
Oi, fala aí pessoal, bom dia. Você está escutando o Inglês Nu E Cru Rádio. I am your host, Foster Hodge. This is your daily dose of English. Hey, Alexia.
Hey, Foster.
How are you doing?
I am fine. I'm really excited about this episode.
Why are you excited about this episode?
Because it means a lot for us.
It means a lot to us.
To us. See?
Yeah. So why does this episode mean a lot to you?
Because it shows how much we traveled. If I could say like this, to get
Metaphorically.
to our...
Yeah.
Yes, metaphorically. To this episode, which is our 200th episode.
This is our 200th episode.
Yay!
What? Oh my God.
Can you believe this? Already 200.
It is absolutely insane. And I think it is very appropriate that I'm recording our 200th episode in an extremely weird room with some weird sounds. But it's unbelievable to me that we have for 200 days recorded a podcast more or less every day.
Yeah, more or less every day, and from different parts of the world, sometimes together, most of times apart. I mean, I'm very proud of us and of all the listeners.
Listeners, yes. Yes, it's crazy how much support and how much love we get from our listeners. You guys are the best, especially if you've been listening to this show from the start, which is basically no one, because when we started, no one was listening. All I want to say is thank you. We are super, super grateful.
Yes. So thank you, obrigada, gracias, merci, in every single language that I know.
Italian?
Grazie.
Okay, there we go. So, Alexia, in 200 episodes, we have learned a lot. And today I wanted to talk about that. But imagine we are doing podcasts every day. People send us messages on Instagram, email, Facebook. And do you know what the most common question we receive is?
Oh, yes, I do know. Because they all sent to me on Instagram.
Yeah. So the most common question, super surprising. And it's not even close. It's not about phrasal verbs. It's not about prepositions. Alexia, can you tell us what the most common question that our listeners ask us is?
Yeah. So the most common question is, what does lose well mean?
Lose well. Exactly. So at the end of every podcast, I remember I recorded the first episode in a bathroom in an Airbnb in Rio. And I had this little music and I had to think of something to say at the end of the show. And the first thing that came to my head was keep up the good fight and lose well.
Yeah. And then I listened to that, but it wasn't strange for me because I know the story. So I was like, oh, that's cool. No problem at all. And then a lot of people started to listen to us, like all of you guys already sent me a message on Instagram saying, Alexia, por favor, me explica o que quer dizer lose well.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we will try to do today. So to understand what lose well means, and especially what it means for us, we first have to talk about Chris Gethard.
My favorite person in the world, besides my father and my boyfriend.
Thank you. Very good. You corrected your mistake. So Chris Gethard, we've talked about him on the show before. He is a comedian. He does stand-up comedy. He used to have a TV show called The Chris Gethard Show until very recently. And he has a wonderful podcast called Beautiful Stories for Anonymous People.
Yes, it's my favorite podcast ever. I always tell people about it. And it's not only for practicing English at all, it's to know people and understand what they are being through and listen to Chris because he's amazing. He's amazing in every kind of aspect. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's amazing in every way.
In
Even
every
though
way.
he is a very short, strange-looking, nerdy guy, and most of the time he is talking about really depressing things,
Yeah,
he's
and
absolutely amazing.
the first time that I saw Chris was with you and your friend Zoe in the movies. Do you remember?
Ah, yeah. Yeah, he's in a movie called Don't Think Twice.
Yeah, and then we started to listen to Beautiful Anonymous, and you were like, "Oh, this is a guy from the movie," and that's fine.
From the movie.
I'm sorry, from.
Yeah, so I think everyone that listens to this show knows that I love podcasts, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's kind of a problem, like an addiction. But every time that we would travel, I always wanted to listen to podcasts, and Alexia wanted to listen to music. And some of the podcasts that I wanted to listen to were boring for Alexia, about like American politics or something.
I like that, but it's not like, oh, let's drive for 4 hours and we have to listen to politics. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but then we started listening to Beautiful Stories for Anonymous People together, and we both loved it. And lose well is kind of the theme of the show, but it's really the mantra of Chris's life. He has a tattoo that says lose well, and he just launched a book. He just released a book, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Called Lose Well.
Yes, I started to listen to it, and it's amazing. I am on the 3rd chapter already, but I'll get through it when I go back to Brazil. So it's amazing because you can listen to him, and again, you can practice your English and you can understand more about him, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and he has a great voice.
He's the best.
I mean, he uses a lot of slang, but he speaks very clearly and with a very unique intonation. So I really recommend listening to the audiobook, and we will include the link in the show notes about how to get the audiobook for free. So Alexia, I finished the book. I'm actually reading it my 2nd time. So I just want to give you a little summary of the most important points that, I don't know, some of the things that were really relevant for me, at least. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. Go ahead. No spoilers, right?
No spoilers. No, just some general life help. So this book was kind of surprising to me because Chris is really weird. He's really depressing. He had an HBO special that talked about suicide. And then this book is kind of like a self-help book. It's really positive. It's kind of like a combination between like a biography, like an autobiography, and a personal development book. So it's a really kind of new thing for him. But I had 5 points that these were really just like names of chapters, but 5 ideas that seemed really important to me. Do you want to hear them?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, I can only hear them if I get one of those sweet
Oh no.
Sweet. episode 200. Give me a drum roll,
Oh
please.
god. Okay, here you go. I'm sorry, guys, but
Number 1, the lesson learned from Lose Well is don't apologize for the things that make you unique. So don't apologize for being you. What do you think about that, Alexia?
I think that's so true because people nowadays with social media and everything that are surrounding us, we are because I am in this group as well. We are so worried about what people will think about what you're doing, what you're buying, what are you eating, how you are behaving and reacting. So you shouldn't. You shouldn't at all.
Yeah. And it's something all of us do. I try to always kind of put on this facade that, oh, I'm doing my own thing and I'm trying to be creative and I don't care what other people think.
We do
But in my
care.
head, that's all I do all day is I'm thinking about what other people are thinking about me.
I do worry about it. And unfortunately, this is something that we need to get better on. And
Get better at. We always get better at things.
Get better at. So that's it.
Yeah. I think you don't have to apologize for being you. Everyone knows who they are. Everyone knows that they're kind of weird and they have weird little things about them.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes you unique and special and an individual. So don't say sorry for being you.
Yep. And do you have the second one?
I don't know. Do you have a drum roll for me?
Yes. I can't believe they are making me do that.
Of course.
Okay.
Rule number 2, check your ego at the door. So do you understand this when I say check something at the door?
Like leave it behind?
Yeah. So, for example, we have coat check, where you can check your coat. That's like when you enter a fancy restaurant or something.
It's like a chapelaria.
Exactly. Yeah. Except in this case, Chris is using the metaphor of his ego or your ego, that you need to check it at the door. That means when you enter a room or a situation or anything in your life, that you need to leave your ego behind. These first 2 rules kind of seem like they contradict each other, right? On one hand, he's saying, don't apologize for the things that make you unique. He's saying, be yourself. But at the same time, he's saying, check your ego at the door. Like, don't be too proud. So there's kind of this delicate balance of you have to recognize that you are unique and different, but at the same time, you have to recognize that you are a loser. That according to society, according just to life in general, you are going to fail and lose so many times. So there is no reason to have an ego. You should not try to be this cool loser. It's just you have to accept the fact that you're going to lose. You're a loser. You're always going to lose. Life is a series of failures.
Yeah, I understand from Chris' point of view, but honestly, I need to read this part to understand it better because I don't know if I agree that much.
Yeah. Ego is a super, super complicated thing, but I totally agree with Chris on this point, and we can talk about that point more later if you want to.
Yes.
So point number 3, Alexia, always be terrified.
That's me.
Okay, so Chris was saying this in the context that when you are comfortable, if you're comfortable in your job, if you're comfortable in a relationship, if you're comfortable in any new thing that you're doing, you always need to push yourself just a little bit outside of your comfort zone, because That's where the magic happens.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I am a warrior and I'm always terrified of everything. And I don't like to settle down. Like, I always want to improve myself or the things that I am, right?
Yeah, but when you say you are a warrior, you sound so brave and
No,
dignified.
warrior.
Oh, a worrier.
Yes. But I am a warrior as well.
Yeah. So actually in the book, Chris said that when he really started feeling comfortable with stand-up comedy, that is when he started practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
No, he
And
posted a lot of it on
yeah,
his
it's really
Instagram.
funny. It's really funny. I recommend checking out his Instagram and watch him doing Jiu-Jitsu. It's hilarious.
Okay, I do agree with that. You do agree with that, right? I know you.
Oh, I am always terrified. And I think I should do it even more. I can't remember who said it. I think it was a former boss of mine, but they said that life begins where your comfort zone ends. So that is another more poetic way of saying always be terrified.
Yeah, I like that, but that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
number 4 now.
Why this? Why here? Why now? Do you want me to give you a little bit of context?
Yes,
Or...
go ahead, because I think that I know what he's talking about, but I want to be sure this time.
Chris's life is really an exaggerated series of failures. So he has had like he was on Saturday Night Live for like 2 days and then he got fired. He was the star of a sitcom that did not even finish its first season. And he was reading some of the reviews of the sitcom. And in the book, I think someone said, like, Chris, seriously, your agent or the person that contracted you to be on the show should commit suicide. Like, that's how bad
That's horrible.
the show was. So he's saying whenever you have an idea, a project, anything you want to do in life, you have to ask yourself those 3 questions. Why this? Why am I doing this? Why am I thinking about this? Why here? And why now?
Yeah.
So when I think about in the context of Inglês Nu E Cru, when we started this, we had this crazy idea of quitting our jobs, recording podcasts all the time. Why this? I loved podcasts and I wanted to change the way that education and English is taught in Brazil. Why here? Because podcasts are an awesome medium to learn. I think audio is the future of education. And then if you asked why now, to be really honest, you had just lost your job and I needed a partner.
It was a perfect timing.
Yeah. So I think those are 3 good questions to ask at any point in your life.
Oh, I do that with everything, every single thing. You know that. I'm always trying to understand why now, why here, and why this every single thing, with every single thing.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, but only sad examples, which I don't want to do that.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
It's fair play. So point number 5, Alexia, can I get one final drum roll for our 200th episode, please?
Yeah.
Rule number 5 from Lose Well, shake up your routine.
Woohoo.
So this is kind of similar to Always Be Terrified, but it's different. So in the book, Chris was talking about his psychiatrist, who he talks about a lot, and it's really funny.
And I really want to meet her one day.
Yeah. She seems like a very interesting person.
Mm-hmm.
But she gave him the advice that he should never walk the same way home. Like to and from work, every day he should change streets and find a different way to go, just because it's a little bit different in his routine. And he talks about like the first few days he was like, this takes like 5 minutes longer. Why am I doing this? And then he's like, after doing it for a week, I found an awesome new sandwich shop and I never knew it existed.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like when you are traveling and exploring, I mean, you already kind of know where your Airbnb, hotel, I don't know, bed and breakfast is. And, but when you're traveling, you always take different streets or routines,
Streets.
streets to get you home safe and sound. And when we are at home on in our comfort zone,
Excuse me? In our comfort zone.
comfort zone, we
There
don't
we
do
go.
that, and we should do that a lot of times and every day and do new things. And I don't get that. I don't know why we do that when everything is new for us. We should do that every single day.
Yeah. I think we should shake up our routine every day. I
Yeah.
totally agree. So, Alexia, after talking about this, well, there's one quote that I took from the book is he says, "You're going to fail in life." I'm just paraphrasing this first part, but he says, "You're going to fail no matter what. That's a fact of life. You're going to fail at your job, in your relationships, sometimes with your health. Your life is a series of failures, so you have to learn how to fail and you have to learn how to lose well." So he says, and I'm quoting now, "It is better to fail on your own terms than someone else's. So define those terms for yourself."
Yeah. So what I get from that is like learn how to lose, learn how to fail. Because with that, you learn a lot about your life and about yourself, and you can grow up and you can mature a lot as well.
Yeah, you can mature a lot.
Mature.
Yeah. And I've just been thinking about the last 200 episodes, and I'm trying to think about how we're losing well. We've lost a lot, you know? I mean, we both lost our jobs, or I stopped my traditional teaching job and you lost your job. And then right now we are traveling the world, and to save money, we are just staying in random people's houses taking care of their dogs. For me, that is losing well. It's like
Yes.
we don't have enough money to pay rent, but we got dogs and we love them, and we're going to learn from this crazy situation.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And this is just a small example. I mean, you have bigger examples, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think that once you learn how to fail and how to deal with that, you can set your limits and you can understand better how to live. Live.
Live.
Live.
Alexia's continuing battle with the E and I sound is a great example of losing well.
Yes.
She always does it with a beautiful laugh and a good attitude.
Yes, and I have a very good example that happened to me on Inglês Nu E Cru Instagram. One of our followers sent me a message saying like, "Alexa, can you help me? Because I am very shy and I don't know if I want to do the Cambly class, but
The free Cambly class.
yes, but I really, really want to do that, but I don't know how to deal with that because I'm going to be really shy when I can say something or when I get stuck.
When I can say something.
And I was like, listen, I do a lot of mistakes every single day. And
I make a lot of mistakes.
oh my God, I make a lot of mistakes every single day. And I'm still learning. And sometimes people can't understand me. Sometimes my pronunciation is way worse than it is usually. And this doesn't mean that I can't communicate. So, what you're doing, going to Cambly, talking to a stranger, or going to a new place, or going to a new country, and speaking a language that it's not your own, is already trying a lot, like you are growing up a lot inside. So you're gonna fail a lot, you're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to communicate, but once you learn from your mistakes, you're gonna be a lot better in English.
I 100% agree. And it's not just like what your parents say, like, oh, you have to learn from your mistakes. No, it's like really going through the process of trying to talk to someone in a foreign language and physically not being capable of doing it.
Yeah.
That is the true failure.
And
that is where learning occurs.
Exactly. And this happens here in Portugal. Yesterday, I went to buy a thing for my face that I showed on Instagram for you guys. And she asked me, like,
Is our Instagram a makeup Instagram now?
no, but it has a lot of tips. Okay.
Okay, did not know about that. Good to know.
Because you don't go to our Instagram and you don't know what I'm doing there.
I'm trying to use my phone less.
Okay, amo. And then the girl asked me, like, isto é uma oferta? And I was like, isto é uma prenda? And then I understood she was asking me if it was a gift for someone.
Ah.
So, even in Portuguese, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a constant battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So speaking about all of this and thinking about losing well, and after 200 episodes, we are going to shake things up. We are going to shake up the routine here at Inglês Nu E Cru. So we have a lot of big news coming. We're going to do a lot of different things. Recently, I've been researching and talking a lot about the Brazilian educational system and just kind of the entire landscape and environment of English teaching. I think it's really wrong. And we are both 29 years old now. So I want to do something a little bit bigger. I want to be terrified, kind of.
I don't know any of this that he's talking about now, but I will learn about it.
Everything will make sense with time. But what I want to say for now is we are not going to record new episodes for the rest of the month because we will be focusing on Sound School, our conversation and pronunciation course. But we will keep you busy with some old favorites and maybe some little special episodes every now and then. And then next month, we will get back in your earphones.
Yeah, so can I say see you in December?
You can say see you in December, but first you have to say keep up the good fight.
And lose well.
And lose well.
Thank you, guys. It's
Thank you. Love
amazing.
Beijo.
Thank you so much.
Inglês Nu E Cru.
See you in December.
We're gone.
Woohoo!
Inglês Nu E Cru. Ciao, ciao,
Yay!
ciao.
Bye.